I am gonna call the first meeting of April to order. And first order of business is legal. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So Jim is excused, he's on taking vacation. So we'll get into the minutes. I am looking for approval of the regular session minutes of March the 19th.
So moved.
Second vote,
Yes.
yes. Motion to approve the special session minutes of March 26th.
So moved.
Second vote, yes. Sheriff's office isn't here, Brookside.
Only new item to report is their next civic meeting is April 17th at 6:30 at the Northwest Library. They are not, I think I mentioned before, they are not holding meetings here anymore, so they're back from the calendar.
Worthington Hills.
Let's see, May 3rd, garage sale.
We have brought it.
Huh?
We have brought it.
Yeah,
May 3rd,
May 3rd.
doing it the same day?
I didn't pick the day.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way. I just meant.
Oh, yeah. it's
I'm
same day.
I am a messenger. So,
Wait, you're having one too? No, yeah.
Nothing you were trying.
tomorrow evening is their annual meeting, so they'll have a new slate of officers, up for election. And, Matt is term limited, so we have the president. Or all with, the fire department, so. And thanks to Charlie for taking care of that, fraud case that, for a resident. So. I'm sure he told you about that. Okay. Go ahead.
Elkhorn and Rebellion.
The Ballards. Where are we with?
They're all replaced and
Okay,
they're up.
we had indicated that we would meet with them, right? Is that where I lost it? Left it? Yeah.
I think you left it there that we would,
We need to have a meeting with both HOAs.
yeah.
Make, sure. I think it's scheduled. You
I haven't heard anything, any
And she-
requests.
and Chief Cicero. Okay. We'll have lunch somewhere. Okay, I'll get some dates to work on.
The HOA at Ravello reached out, the HOA at Ravello reached out today about, painting no parking in front of their mailbox clusters. I was gonna look and see if that is something possible down there.
You need no parking in front of there.
On the street, having something on the street. They had a little pull-off area. I don't know how it would work. I'd have to go down and look and picture what they're.
All the mailboxes are a central location. One side has central, the other side has central, so they're centrally located.
We're just gonna run that by the county engineer.
I was gonna see if it's even possible before
Okay,
we do anything.
okay.
I,
If we can do it, great, but I will caution.
yeah, I think the other side of the road is no parking. This is marked no parking. I would think they'd want pull off in front of the mailboxes, but I don't know.
Yeah, what they don't want is people parking in front of the mailbox because the postal carrier can't get to the mailboxes. That's what they're looking for.
Someone parking there and leaving the
Yeah.
car.
Yeah, that's what their issue is, because one of our guys asked someone to move the other day. So,
Okay.
because the postal carrier couldn't get into the mailboxes.
Or in support of that.
Yeah, I think it would be a good idea just in front of the cluster mailboxes to say no parking there, but on each side of that, you can park in the pull-off spot. But just don't block the mailboxes is what I would ask. That's all they want.
So we're gonna check into it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna, go out of order here a little bit, but, I'm gonna go to road department next.
The only thing I have is this mileage certificate. I think the miles are off. I'd like to research this, and
Come back.
I know it's due, it says it was due March first.
They should not have to worry about the date.
I'd like to research it.
Think it's less or more?
I think it's more. I don't think this is including all of the courtyards and Ravello.
How many, is I remember the approval was like 22 point, how many does it say on that?
17.
Yeah, I wanna say it's like, would it more?
I think we should be up near 20 with the
With Ravello.
Ravello.
Yeah, because it was like.
Cause it was like 16, well,
Yeah.
the standard was like 16 point.
Too warm before we added
Yeah.
those neighborhoods.
Okay. Who would have got the check with?
Well, Mark is usually the one that sends this to me.
Okay.
John received this from Aaron from ODOT.
We're gonna start with Mark.
I will start with Mark tomorrow.
So next meeting,
Yes.
okay,
And then the water break, this was added on my agenda.
Yeah, that, we added that, we got a call from a resident right at the corner of McVeigh and May Court, and they've had multiple water breaks on that line. City of Columbus maintains that line, but the lines are actually owned by Franklin County. Franklin County subcontracts the maintenance to Columbus. They dug a hole, fixed the break, and before they could backfill the hole, it's filled back up with water because the line broke in another spot. So Columbus is saying the line needs replaced. Franklin County was like, we had no idea that this is even a problem. Nobody from Columbus has communicated with us about this, so they're right now looking into whether or not that whole line going into May Court needs to be replaced. It's actually, because of the leak, is undermining the roadway right there. So it's being looked at by Franklin County right now, and they're gonna make some determination what needs to be done to correct the problem long term.
Do we, and this is out of my knowledge scope, certainly, do we have some sort of idea ballpark on how long those lines are usually good for? Because I mean, obviously, the neighborhood is gonna be
Those
all
lines
the
are,
same age.
those lines are 68 years old. They're 66 years old, he said.
Yeah, be close to that.
Yeah, I mean, my house was built in 69, so it's around there.
So he did not indicate the life expectancy. He said that they're all cast iron lines opposed to plastic lines now.
Yeah,
He
I
said,
mean, I'm not trying to borrow trouble, I'm just thinking that if we're starting to see these, it's
Water line plants no longer than 75 years old.
last what?
No longer than 75 years old, depending upon the aggressiveness of the treatment of the water.
well, I'm
So
not-
we're near.
Which is the reason why ours was so aggressively treated up here. Breaks every 5 minutes, so.
water line, that's been 5 years left.
Good thing you're not a water line, John. I've called you a lot of things, but it's never been a water line.
Yeah.
But you
It's
do.
all how we treat you though.
Aggressively, sometimes very
Aggressively
aggressively.
treated. It's true.
Reminds me of that line in front of your driveway.
That's when he added his extra bathroom.
or it was because of our extra bathroom. I'm not sure. Anyway,
Sorry.
that's a conversation. we're holding.
Thing I do.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Anyway,
Very good. What I found interesting is he was like, yeah, Columbus has never wanted to communicate. We think this is a problem.
And
Were they at?
we're finding that problem.
Is that something we should start communicating with the county on the water leaks? Cause I mean, I could
Well,
know
we
that.
probably should be saying it to both, kind of like copying them on an email, let them know.
Yeah, do you have Ryan's contact info?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would copy him on everything that's going on over there.
Yeah, anytime I see a water leak,
Yeah.
Yeah, but he said all those lines in there are about 66 years old.
I think that makes sense, yeah.
So they're in the end.
About as old as the neighborhood, so.
Andy, did you want to talk about?
Sure do.
Okay,
For all you
I have no clue what it is.
access control management.
It's just the, study,
Right.
yeah.
Do we have any updates on that?
What is that?
Devil strip,
Oh, okay,
the devil
that's what
strip.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, the tackle strip, that's what it is, I thought it was the other thing.
No.
Like security key cards or something.
Yeah.
No,
Just
it
the
is
guy
on my
who places
list,
the thing.
some number on my list. I will get with Mr. Petrosi, we will get with Advanced Civil Design.
Yeah,
We'll find out from Jim where they are in that project, not sure that we paid them, I know we have a contract with them to do the work, the survey work.
I think
Make it a point
we need to
tomorrow.
move
And
that.
it's to include both, right?
Yes, that's every connection.
We were looking for another file. That one today.
All right,
Yeah, well, here you are.
so Luke, you're gonna keep that on the,
Okay.
just keep that on the agenda.
Do you want me to
Now that we know what it is.
Sorry, I was
Well,
like,
it's okay. When we put it on, you did say you didn't want to put the words devil strip on the agenda, because without context, it looks kind of dead as.
and then
Yeah, that's
McVeigh traffic calming. And this one's kind of related to the Linworth 160, or no, the apartment development, right?
And also really ODOT and all that, but
Yeah, do we have any updates on the apartment complex?
I don't.
The latest that I have was ODOT received the original traffic study.
Right.
They put together what they termed as substantial recommended changes to it. And have sent that back to the developer. And that was last week. And so what they were saying to me is that if you're going to have a company study it, they probably ought to look at their baseline, what they started with, but they'll want to see what our comments are to that. And then there's obviously the revised study that they'll take into account.
So,
When you say substantial changes, I'm sorry,
go ahead.
do you mean changes that they want done to the traffic study that was done or to the design?
There were some assumptions within the traffic study that were incorrect. Is what they said.
So my question is, I called the guy that I know, Doug Bender, and he wanted, what was it,
25,
25?
which is less people.
So my question is this, like, is Doug gonna be able to weigh in at any, like, love Doug, thinks he's great, probably one of the best in business. But my question is this, I think we're all kind of under the impression that this thing's gonna happen. If ODOT, I don't think, are we gonna have any push on ODOT or ODOT's gonna be able to look at the study and say, yeah, that's not right, that needs to change, this, that thing, because obviously they're in control.
They got 2 or 3 barriers. One is the traffic study.
Right.
That's the first thing. Second thing is to do what the developer is saying that they will do, which is to do this, right in, right out scenario where they would have to have this extra kind of lane, kind of a ear down lane that you
Yeah.
come down. They would have to buy property from as far west as Napa. They're gonna have to buy land from Napa. I mean, they're gonna have to buy land from the 3 property owners that
Right.
Hansky and.
tell me out that.
Veterinary,
Yeah.
yeah,
Of which I think we've contacted the Tanksy folks who now own it. And I don't think that the attorney was real keen on this project, so I think there's some opposition to it.
well, the only reason I bring it up is, instead of hiring somebody to look over ODOT's back, who, ODOT as a representative, do we take that money and say, how is this development going to affect McVeigh? And to study because I think we all recognize if they put a light there, or they do something like that, everybody's gonna go right, 161's backed up. They're coming right through and they're gonna go to McVeigh to go around.
No doubt in the can, won't be a light there.
But if they end up, are they gonna be able to go straight, or is it gonna be a right in, or, right in, right out?
Straight, right,
But,
Straight meaning
straight to McVeigh,
yeah,
right to,
without a light. Just close your eyes and hope. That's how I get out of the neighborhood.
well, I'm sure there'll be a sign there that says, please close your eyes.
yeah.
Please close your eyes,
Done it.
say a prayer, hope you've been good.
No, all I'm saying is, do we anticipate that traffic is going to go to McVeigh, and we develop what things can we do in the stretch to inhibit people wanting to go straight?
So
I
you're
would
saying
say
is
that
the
we-
money better spent trying
That's what I'm
to
saying.
do something to treat the traffic?
I say we do both. I mean, here, I know.
Yeah.
like, Here's, it is a small amount. To me, it's a small amount. It's $2,500 to get us to understand what the heck the developer can and cannot do. I mean, what are these substantial? I'm not a road engineer,
No,
so I can't tell you why ODOT's saying what they're saying and really what are the barriers for that and arguments we should be making to ODOT. I'd like to at least have the knowledge before going to ODOT instead of going and having, meetings with the deputy director say, hey, I really wish you would. I'd really like to have some scientific justification for you shouldn't be doing this because of X, Y, and Z.
well, I'm sort of
The traffic
saying,
engineer is
I'm
saying
saying
this.
like, if we're gonna do that, then I say it should be, just like they're gonna make them do stuff on the east and west of the property. Why can't we say, hey, these are the fixes, if you're gonna do this development and we know damn well it's gonna put
And I
that,
agree with
then
that.
then we need to have, and that's where I'm just saying, like, guiding the engineer to say, I want you to study McVeigh and the improvements that we would have to make in order to, and then put that on the development, saying, hey, ODOT, we want these improvements done to McVeigh in order to, accommodate all this other, so if you're gonna do east-west, then how about we do north as well?
And I,
Especially if you're using Worthington schools, it's all gonna feed.
But I think that cost is gonna go up if Doug is designing improvements.
well, we only asked you for one thing.
Right.
You know,
That's my point, it's like, we gotta tell him what he's doing.
you said, I'll call him, okay? I'll get you out of the middle.
I don't
Then
care.
I'll call him and say, put this into two buckets for us. One, okay, this is where we are with the traffic study, and this is how
Right.
much, that bucket's gonna cost. But if you lived on McVeigh, if you
Right.
personally lived on McVeigh,
Yeah,
and this development came in, taking it from the traffic engineer's perspective, what are the elements that would need to be incorporated in the overall plan to alleviate some of the problems or some of the congestion or some of the safety issues that you would see coming to the residents over in McVeigh?
but I also think it's not just the development, I also think that this goes back to the public hearings that we had last year, and that is, we need to study McVeigh and figure out what we're gonna do.
And this is a precursor to that overall study.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that we collected enough data of our own data, and I know that, we could say that, hey, that people don't speed, they don't have whatever, but I think we're at that point where we need to do our own study of McVeigh and the improvements to it. We talked about speed bumps, we talked about sidewalks, we talked about all kinds of stuff. My question is, do we have this individual and go out to bid for a couple of different traffic engineers to come up and study McVeigh solely and not have us trying to do our own traffic studies?
Well, we need to get on this.
Right.
How
Because it's.
about-
we're at
about we
this
do
point.
this? How about I know we only have one estimate. And I don't know this industry well enough to say, well, we ought to go out, we ought to talk to Bill, Bob and Sue and whatever. I mean, I really don't care.
I can give, I mean, being in the industry, I can give you three reputable. It's just who's gonna get we gotta define the scope. So we can do apples to apples. And then,
Okay, so let me step back 1 second here. So initially, the initial $2,500 was to evaluate the traffic study by the developer
right,
and, what gaps, issues, et cetera. Kind of looking at it through our lens, if you will, from what it's going to impact our residents, which is key, right? That goes part and parcel with what you're saying, which is the larger, whether it's this or it's something else, we are going to have this problem and the traffic on McVeigh is going to only get worse. We, I think, are all in agreement on that. So is the thought that because of timing, we need to move forward with the gentleman that we have right now to do the one and then possibly,
I mean, the thing, I know Doug enough that I could say, Doug, this is the piece that I called you about is this, but I know what the residents are after. The residents are saying, hey, we got a problem. And I will tell you, I'll be the first, if I'm coming from Sawmill down there and I see streetlights, I'm making a left and I'm going down McVeigh and I'm going the back way. That's only gonna be more with all of this stuff going on. And then on top of it, let's not forget, what's that?
could you stop?
I go 25 miles an hour. I make that sure.
You told
No,
me-
I'm just saying,
you told
like,
me
we're at
everything is just
we're at a
1.5
point.
and everything.
We're just at a point that we've got to say, now I can talk to Doug and say, and I've done this for people that have said, is saying, hey, look, you're one of the bidders, but I need you to help me define the scope of work. You're going to.
Oh, so you want him to define the scope of work?
Correct, to get us that, yes, correct.
How quickly do you think you get that scope of work?
I'm sure he's done it before, so I can I'm okay calling him. and
Well,
say,
that part
"Doug."
is okay, because all you're asking for is the scope of work.
Right,
If you
Right.
can make that happen,
yes,
then I tell you what, I'll call ODOT and say, if you were to, and they can't endorse or,
Right.
I'll just ask him for two more.
Yeah.
What are your top two?
Yeah.
Your top two, and we're gonna send a scope of work to them, we're gonna get estimates, and we're gonna get this done.
okay,
Okay.
all right.
Okay.
So are you folks okay with me just putting a quick note to the neighborhood group, just saying, hey, just a heads up, there's conversation about doing this, we're looking at
I'm okay.
exploring a further traffic study about,
But I
just to keep
think,
folks informed.
but I think, Michelle, they have to know that this development is gonna get approved. I hope again, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but just with Columbus and they're saying, hey, we are going to approve every housing complex. Now, granted, the developer has,
Well, I mean, to
Think
this point, I
so.
said if it's this or it's another one, something is gonna happen there. And I think you heard from the folks that were here the other
Yeah.
night, them saying, we're not thinking it's gonna go away.
Right.
We're just, what do we do?
right,
It's coming,
yeah.
whether it's this one or it's somebody else.
And I would rather, if we're gonna spend township dollars, I'd rather spend it on help, knowing that traffic is going to increase on McVeigh and getting at problems to solve on that.
And I think folks understand, I mean, they'd love to see it become a park, right, or something. But I think folks understand that that's not gonna be the case. It's
Okay.
just been quite a pivot, of course,
Yeah.
from it's gonna be a space lab office park,
Right,
which would be low density and only during the day, usually for the most part, to,
right,
all of those houses.
Right.
So,
And that was a great report you just gave. What's your
Fire and EMS,
Nothing to report,
police department,
nothing to report.
what?
it's amazing.
I'm moving into that.
Just go with
spot.
it.
Just-
All right, I'm gonna go on administrator.
Oh.
I'm gonna go back to something.
Okay. Under, old business, we have make a decision on, first of all, I want to congratulate you all. You're now members of the Dublin Chamber of Commerce. You know that, you knew that.
What are our benefits?
Whole list of them,
Okay, good.
and I will send those to you.
We'll just,
It's your whole packet. But we'll get a little plaque to hang on the wall.
We get bumper stickers for the seniors or something?
Stick it to the window.
Anyway, we had become members of, the chamber to qualify for the Anthem insurance. That was one of the requirements from Anthem that for townships, is that they're a member of a.
Well, sure, I mean, I'm all for it, it just,
Yep, so with that being said, there are savings making this move. And McGowan Bender is asking, do we want to go with the 85-15? Do we want to go back to 80 or 80-20? Do we want to go back to 85-15 for the share of payments by the employees? Do you want to split that?
I'm not seeing this out in the meeting portfolio. Is this just, is it an email?
It is a conversation that
I'll take it from here.
Michael had with,
Okay.
Yeah, so there. They called and asked confirmation of the 80-20, 85-15. I said, well, that's really a board decision. You know, hold off until Monday. They need to put that in the overall equation. And so what I would pitch to you is the idea that, listen, we did save money. We did save as much money as we could have saved if we were in the consortium. But that's another discussion and another strategy that we have to talk to them about. But we did save money. And so I believe the board should at least consider the possibility of somewhere splitting it in the middle somewhere. And I don't know what that figure looks like. I know I asked Stephen to come up with some numbers for, what was it, 83-17 split? Something like
83-17,
I'm based on how much we're looking at, I'm 80-20. It has to be, we can't split. Now, can we revisit that next year? But considering the healthcare, I think we gotta be 80-20. It's staggering. So that's just where I'm at. I don't know, I can't speak for Jim, but I'm 80-20.
that's where we are.
80-20. I will pass that on to Stephen tomorrow.
And let's work our tails off to get into the consortium.
Nobody go to the doctor all year.
And we get a meeting set up to talk about options for getting back, or getting into the consortium. Because I think it requires some strategy.
Well, yeah, they talked about how to, we gotta figure out, like, because it was all based on risk. So
Right.
I think
There's a bit that we need to be able
Yeah,
to maybe
correct.
set aside, cover in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be, huge, but
And
I
then
think
it
it's,
gets us back to the table of.
Yes. and the savings are significant, and then at that point, I think we can, we'll sort of.
Question about health insurance. If it stays 80-20, does that mean the premium's gonna go down or will it stay the same? Even because of the savings?
It
Should go down.
Yeah.
Because
That's
we went
Much
from
of it
26
wouldn't have
to
been
16, so.
right.
Yeah,
That's what I'll be able to explain to our folks. Cause I
Yeah.
have a departmental meeting coming up probably in about a month.
I'm not sure how much it will go down, but it will go down.
So we're staying at 80-20. Under new business, shredded day for 2025 is potentially looking to be October 25th. It's a bye week for the Buckeyes. It's the only real open date that the shredding company has. I'm just waiting for confirmation back from the schools that we can use the lots. I got a call into the facilities gal to get that
Pam,
approved.
straight on. Do we need to put in the facility request?
I already did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Very good.
So,
Should get back.
I work with her quite, I know she knows you too, but I work with her quite a bit. If you need any help with that, let me know.
okay, yeah, I kind of worked on that Friday and got all the information that they needed. So I just haven't heard back from her too. But I can't imagine that there's a whole lot going on in those two parking lots on a Saturday morning in October.
They might have football practice in the parking lots, but that's it. I don't know.
The Buckeyes are, they're off that week, so they won't be practicing in the parking lot.
I'm not rec league,
Oh.
WRECK. Rec League. I know, and you're probably familiar with this too. It goes back to the school to review the request, so it usually takes
Yeah,
at least.
but we're working on that, and then, our next order of business would be, moving looking to make a move from Paint CSC to a company called IT Made Real. They've provided a proposal. Luke has worked up some numbers.
I just, yeah, did a side-by-side comparison of some of the services that are listed in their proposal compared to what we currently get from Ideal Integrations. The base monthly cost that they propose is $2,400. Comparing the MSP from managed services from Ideal, the base cost is $7,500, which is quite a bit more. After I reviewed the proposals for IT Made Real's proposal and what we currently have from Ideal, the only major difference I noticed was Ideal provides VoIP service or phones. IT Made Real does not do that. Otherwise, I checked with Eric, who's the CEO of IT Made Real. They provide DNS filtering, antivirus, all that good stuff. So I didn't see anything that was missing from theirs that we don't already get from Ideal, or rather Ideal other than VoIP. So,
And we're,
Do you know how much the VoIP was with them, the
Offhand?
breakout on?
I think I put what the price cost from the last bill we received was on there on the moment.
Is it in here? Maybe I missed it.
It might have been. I was looking at a lot of numbers today, so.
I bet. Here we go. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
VoIP, it was, we were billed $880 in March for VoIP from Ideal Integrations.
is there any like security issues that we have with VoIP?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because I'm telling you, I think we just go to. I mean, that and we're leasing the phones.
Yes, that's my understanding. It looks like we lease them from Ideal Integrations.
Because, right, just to let you guys know, we're also looking at like cell phone and VoIP, all of a sudden, what do we absolutely need from a VoIP system versus cell phones and all that other good stuff, so. It's kind of the communications part of it, and I think some study needs to happen, but if we're just looking at that, like, I know my organization. Like, it doesn't cost us hardly anything, a month. It's like $150.
Yeah, I would think, and this is where I can share input, but I can't, since my company does this
Right.
stuff, I can't participate. I would think the VoIP cost could go down, particularly if we purchased our own equipment. I mean, we'd have that upfront, but it would pay for itself.
Right.
Pretty quickly. If we were looking to replicate just
Yeah.
the one for the other.
Does this company work with any other local governments?
Clinton and Blended Townships and their police
Are
departments.
they good?
Highly recommend it. Both.
I'm sure that we could take money off of that, take cost off of that.
And some of the other stuff that we pay for that is kind of redundant, that BDR replication, that's from the days when we had servers. So that's backing up all users' desktops environments to a physical server, which still happens, but there's no reason for it to continue happening because everything backed up to OneDrive already.
But we've looked at cloud services, like the ability, so one of the things they're looking at is OneDrive. Do we just package everything from the people that have Microsoft Office, you have OneDrive. You can buy individual OneDrive. So everybody's sharing the same thing, but it's like, how do we consolidate all this stuff? Now, we can go to someplace like ShareFile, and ShareFile probably out of all of the ones have the most security measures that we would need from a governmental agency. So the cloud, we're gonna first look at OneDrive and then see where that gets us, what the costs are. So, but I think at the end of the day, I think what we're looking at is that we'll probably need to start making that move to from Ideal Integrations to, IT Made Real.
So there's old school, I'm gonna call them distributors, partners, resellers that combine services for a number of companies in the telecom space. You know, separate from this, right? To do the VoIP, to look at cells, to do all of those things where they can potentially get you better pricing.
Yeah.
That might be a good opportunity because they serve as the expert and then they're the interface to the different companies. But
I think for that part, it would make a lot of sense to at least sit down and talk to somebody like that.
they're not like you don't pay them a salary.
Right.
It's just they make the sale is their money, right? So that it's to their benefit.
Yeah. I think we do that if you've got,
Yeah.
Something
about that.
Yeah.
I just have to keep our company on it.
right. So more to come on VoIP and whatever, but I think,
This is good.
Yes, and please take time. They
Yeah.
Eric gave tons of good information. So he gave a proposal, an explanation of all this items covered under every tier. He quoted us for tier 3, so everything under tier 1, tier 2.
and they handle the UA, you know, they have other townships that they've had with UAN.
They're also certified by Otarma to do Otarma's compliance stuff. So
And
they got a lot
there's
of
and FBI certified as well. They are very highly recommended by Glenn and Clint.
Hey, Luke, on the on-site visit piece,
Mhm.
I see the notes here about the billed hourly versus one monthly scheduled visit, site visits as needed. What is the rate for site visits as needed?
That was a question that I'm gonna ask Eric tomorrow
Okay.
because I was talking
Thank
to
you.
John and we thought the same thing.
Okay, thank you. It's a great start. I like it.
A lot more cost effective.
Our IT group is me, Luke, and Mike Conkle. So the whole idea is that any IT decisions or whatever will then come to that group. That group will do the research and then come back out, report to the, instead of the kind of the one-off stuff. So if the police had something, we'll have a representative from every, you know, that whole thing. And then we can at least have a central location of IT
Not what
decisions.
we got for you guys.
Yeah. I'll get you some names for the.
Yeah.
And they can manage whatever phones we use, they just don't provide it. Kind of like they see
Oh,
it.
they can, okay.
They'll manage it. I believe that's under the MSP is.
Yeah, it's under tier 2.
Yeah, they'll manage it for us. They just can't provide it.
Okay.
Or I should say they don't provide it.
Anything else?
No,
Fiscal officer.
Plus a motion for approval of payroll and disbursements.
You make that motion?
Out of order, sorry. In terms of UAN updates, I think I shared with you two earlier this week, they're finishing up July. And expect to be done, we're saying the middle of May, just to provide a little cushion. But hopefully sooner than that. I did share that information with Perry and Associates. They are happy about where we are. And so we'll just keep moving forward there. It is now working for them to get in at the same time, which certainly is apparently it was a bigger ask than what we thought. And thank you for that, John. I appreciate it. So also in the packet is the appropriations resolutions. Request a motion for the approval of the permanent appropriations resolutions as submitted.
So moved.
Second vote,
Yes.
yes. We need to do approval payrolls for,
Just did that.
We just did that.
oh, I thought that was the permanent appropriations.
I did that second.
Did that too.
I'll catch up at some
That's why
point.
my husband's here.
All right. We do have an executive session that we need to go into tonight, so, I'm gonna move to enter in, anything else before we go in? All right, I'll move to enter into executive session pursuant to ORC 121-22 G3 to conference with township legal counsel concerning disputes involving the township that are subject to pending or imminent court action.
Mr. English.
Yes.
Mr. Cheney.
Yes.